Hey, I hope you guys are doing well. Want to do a video here on a few of the airlines. So we'll be looking at American Airlines, Delta, and then we'll also be looking at Spirit. We'll take these from a 4-hour time frame, and then we'll look at them a little bit closer and look and see some support levels and some resistance levels and where I think each of these stocks will be going. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Today was a pretty nice day. We started down a good chunk from the overall market as a whole. Then we rallied through and actually closed positive on the day after the Fed came out and said for the first time ever it would be buying corporate bonds. So that was pretty big. The Fed is doing anything and everything it can to keep us pushing along here. But nonetheless, looking here at American Airlines to start here on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that we have just scooted above this resistance right in here around $16.15. And as we closed out today, we closed around $16.70, and after hours we have continued that push, and you can see we're here at $17.17. So for me, American Airlines, like the other ones that we're going to go over here, it had a tumble as we went through last week. We found some support right in here around $14.15. We came up. We saw a bit of a resistance here around 16.75, and we can date that back to right in here in mid to late March. And then we have pushed through today. We started off the day pretty shaky, and then we pushed through again. There was a lot of assistance, I think, from the Fed that helped to push all markets up today. But nonetheless, we did make a higher low. So we had 14.15 roughly. Then we bounced up here. We set some lows in the lower 15s, and then we have now pushed through that resistance from, say, about 16.30 to 16.75. And we have now cracked through $17 a share after hours. And really what I'm looking to see now is this upper $17 to $18 resistance. That is what I'm looking to see. Will we break through as we move through this week? That was really the bottom that we had before we kind of broke down here and slid all the way down here to the low 14. So as we push up to that, are we going to see sellers? And here you can actually see we pushed down really quickly and we hit these lower 16s. This was last Wednesday. We hit these low 16s. We pushed all the way back up here towards 18, and then we failed. That was all in one day. So as we start chugging along here, I'm curious to see, will we see a lot of sellers as we push up? You can see actually today, we poked through 17, then we pulled back down, but then we closed out the day decently well, and then we continued that push higher here after hours. But as we close in on that $18 price point, I'll be curious to see if we see some sellers. To me, I think we'll continue to see this push through that $18 price point, and then eventually we'll start to head up here towards the lower 20s. So we'll go ahead and throw in a resistance right around there. And this is more of like an impulse swing up here towards 22, kind of like a blow off top. We can scoot this up just a little bit. We'll call it about $20.50. So ideally, that is my target price point, and then kind of reevaluate it from there with how we got to that price point if we get there. Now, if we start to break down tomorrow, I would really like to see this act as a support, our lows from this morning, so around $15.30. But again, if we give back everything that we made today, it's not the best of signs, but look back at what we did Friday and then how we opened up today. We can still rally back up. But if we come back down here towards 15.50 and then we fail through there, my next support will be down here closer towards $14.30 or those lower 14s. But again, we will have broken down that higher low that we made from Thursday. So that might kind of break down my bullish stance here on American Airlines. But nonetheless, my target price point is up here towards the mid-20s. But if we start to break down, I would want to cut my position. So you'll kind of start to see a trend here on these airline stocks. We're going to go ahead and now look at Delta, and we'll scoot this back out here to the 4-hour time frame. And again, we saw that big push here in early June, and then we saw that fall in the middle to late part of last week. And ever since we've seen this bounce. So here we set a low, This was back on Wednesday, and then we kind of rallied up, and then we set a higher low, and now we are starting to push back up. And really, for me, the big resistance here on Delta is around $32.90. So really, those upper 32s up there to $33. You can see it acted as a support back here in mid-March, then acted as a resistance as we pushed through in late March, and then it wasn't until recently when we actually gapped above that $33 price point, held up there for a couple of days, and then faded back down. But again, we came down here, we found some support off some old resistance levels. So what was once a resistance, once we break through, is a support, and you can kind of see that right in here around that $27 price point. We faded all the way down and then snapped back up, and then we saw a bit of a ceiling around $30 a share. I'll move it in a bit closer, move in here towards the hourly chart. We saw a bit of a resistance here come Friday around that $30 price point, but again, here on Monday, we set that higher low, and then we pushed higher from there. So again, my target is really where we saw it truly break down around 32.80 up there towards about $33 a share. From there, I think we'll start to see some people that are taking profit and might pull back down, consolidate, and then push higher. And ideally, I'd be looking up here closer towards about $35, $36, even as high is up here around $37. But again, if this thing starts to break back down, I want to see if it'll hold today's lows down here around $28 a share. And then I really would like to see, if we do start to fall back down, us hold right in here at these upper 26s in that $27 price point, because not only did that act as our big support right here, it was also a support in the past. So a breakdown of that might mean lower or more downside to come. But again, my target for most of these airlines is going to be above where we currently sit, and I'd put this one right in here around that $34 price point. But again, we'll have to see it break through 33 first. But I think if we really gain some momentum, then we can push up here towards about 34.30 or 34.50. So lastly, I want to go ahead and look here at Spirit. So this is going to be Save. And I really like Spirit just for the overall potential that it has. So Spirit, like the others, and like I had mentioned earlier, we saw this big decline in the early to latter half of last week, really the entirety of the week. We are seeing red, but then we bounced, made a higher low, and then we have pushed higher again. And with Save, we're approaching this resistance, and we actually broke through it after hours, just right in the lower 19s, or excuse me, right around $20 a share. And then we had another resistance right up here around $22 and about a quarter. And today we are pressing on it pretty well, and then we cracked through after hours. You can actually see, if I move this into the 5-day, 5-minute, maybe we can see that a bit better. Yeah, so you can see we are pushing on a good bit today, right around that $20 price point, and then after hours we've pushed back up, and then our next resistance is going to be down here in the lower 22s. I'll go ahead and back it out. And you guys can kind of see that is where that bottom was. Once we broke through those lower 22s, we had done it once, we had done it twice, or really right here, and we had jumped back up from that. But the third time we failed, we came back up, tested it again, and then failed all the way back down. We had a support down here at about $16 a share. We then pushed up, hit a resistance, came down, bounced again, setting that higher low, and since we have pushed. So again, I'd want to see us push up here towards about $22 a share. From there, I really think this thing, if it does have the momentum and it does have the legs, we could be up here closer to about $25 a share. So those tops that we are making back here just about a week ago. And then ideally, if we look at this from a long-term time frame, the long-term that I'd really want to see Save get back up to would be up here around $32 a share. And if we date this back here towards about 2013, you can see that acted as a bit of a resistance. We pushed all the way up towards about $35, came back down, broke down through 32, but that was like a nice average point, and then we scaled all the way up here towards $85 a share. When we sold back down from there, we traded all the way down here towards about $32, $33 a share. Boom, we bounced for a couple of years, and then we bounced off of it again, and then we bounced off of it one more time here in late 2019, and then we sold down through it. But I honestly think if the market does continue trending upward, and there are more people that are traveling on airlines, I do think that we might be able to see Spirit push back up. Now, this would be a much longer term trade, but we could see Spirit push all the way back up there towards about $32 a share. Obviously, we're going to see it, we're going to need to see it break through some of these more current resistance levels. But to me, I would like to see, and I think it could push all the way back up here towards $32 a share. And if you're just curious, that would be roughly a 60% gain. So, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, found it relatively beneficial. If you did, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me something that I may have missed, or, ask me for another stock that you would like for me to look at. So with that, I hope you guys once again enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next